Welcome back to the TYSK report, where I bring you the things you should know happening in the world of technology. Of course, I got some great articles on the docket. So let's dive into the first one, where we're talking about Rivian. AT&T is Rivian's latest EV customer following Amazon deal. Rivian finally has a second customer for its commercial electric vehicles. Today, AT&T announced it's spinning up a pilot program to switch its commercial fleets to EVs, including Rivian's commercial van and R1 platform trucks. AT&T is Rivian's first customer to purchase commercial EVs outside of the automaker's long exclusive deal with Amazon. In 2019, Amazon agreed to purchase 100,000 delivery vans from Rivian, but reportedly was making orders with Rivian at a glacial pace at a bare minimum of 10,000 units per year. It seemingly added fuel for Rivian to try and end its exclusivity agreement. AT&T's first Rivian EVs are expected to join the fleet in early of 2024. However, there are no details on how many vehicles are in the initial pilot or whether there are more orders in the pipeline. AT&T has a company goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2035 and sees the electrification of its fleets as a contributor to that plan. Rivian is also agreeing to use AT&T as the exclusive in-car connectivity provider for all of its vehicles in the US and Canada. So I think this is a great step forward for Rivian to continue to find other companies to work with. Also, with this pilot program and then working with AT&T and Amazon, we could start to see more companies begin to express interest in Rivian, and they could soon become the go-to company when it comes to commercial electric vehicles. Let's move on to the next article. Waymo launches curbside robo-taxi pickup at Phoenix Airport. Select Waymo One riders can now get picked up or dropped off by the company's robo-taxis curbside at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Waymo became the first autonomous vehicle operator in the U.S. to launch a paid robo-taxi service to and from the airport in November of 2022. The service went to an airport shuttle stop at the 44th Street Sky train station. Navigating the hectic crush of the terminal curbs will be a whole new challenge, but Waymo is starting out with the limited hours from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and only at terminals 3 and 4 in order to safely deploy and learn. Waymo has already completed tens of thousands of airport trips to date and is serving over 1,000 rides each week, according to the company. The average trip rating for its airport trips has been about 4.7 out of 5 stars, Waymo says. And if you check out this video right here, press play. This is just a quick video showing you the video of this Waymo ride getting picked up curbside at the airport in Phoenix, Sky Harbor, putting your bag in there in that trunk, getting in the back seat, getting ready to take off with no driver in the seat. So it looks like an interesting ride, but of course it's being recorded. Looks like it's moving pretty fast, but again, it's being recorded. So we can't really tell that, true, authentic, and genuine experience of being in this Waymo ride. So when it comes to autonomous vehicles here in the US, we can begin to see a snail-like progression because Waymo is just this one company, and there was Cruise, but it looks like Cruise may be taking a very, very long break because of all the different things that was happening with them with the news and then with accidents and things of that sort. So instead of autonomous vehicles accelerating as I thought it would, but maybe I was having a very optimistic outlook on things, but because of the safety aspect of it, yeah, it's definitely very important to make sure that the vehicles are safe. But Waymo has been doing many rides, so I think they'll be the #1 company here in the US when it comes to autonomous vehicles. Waymo may be that company that you may get a ride from in the future, so that's just something to be on the lookout for. Moving on to the next article. China's WeRide tests autonomous buses in Singapore, accelerates global ambition. WeRide announced it has obtained 2 licenses from Singapore that will allow its robo-buses to test on public roads on a larger scale. The 2 permits, called M1 and T1 respectively, are granted by the Land Transport Authority, LTA, of Singapore, and will enable WeRide's self-driving buses to test in areas including the One North Tech Cluster and the National University of Singapore. The news came just 5 months after WeRide announced it had secured a self-driving license to test a range of vehicles including robotaxis on open roads in the United Arab Emirates, which has a bold agenda to automate its transport system. The company also holds various levels of AV permits in the US and its home country, China. As one of the densest cities in the world with an aging workforce, Singapore started its push into AVs in 2014 as a means to cope with its land and manpower constraints. According to the LTA, the city with over 5 million people has a measured approach to rolling out AVs and has completed the first phase in test beds or controlled environments. Now, one thing about WeRide was the additional products that they had for their vehicles. So if you look at this website that they have right here, we can see this kind of intro video on their homepage showing that they are transforming urban living with autonomous driving. So you get a nice little glimpse of that bus right there as it was moving past. But looking at their products, they have 5 different ones. So they have the robo taxi, then they have that robo bus that I was speaking about previously, and then they also have the robo van for delivery, then the robo sweeper, and then something called WePilot. So interesting things are definitely happening with this company, but because of the last article and this article, I'm starting to think that places outside of the US are going to have the most innovation when it comes to autonomous vehicles or autonomous flying planes or autonomous taxis, robo taxis, air taxis, all these different things when it comes to transportation and the electrification of transportation. I think here in the US, we're going to see more of an EV push, but not an AV push versus on the other side of the world in like Singapore, China, and other parts of Europe. We're going to see probably more progression and acceleration when it comes to autonomous vehicles. So that's just something to be aware of and be on the lookout for. And maybe you don't have to worry about being picked up by a driverless vehicle no time soon. I do think it's going to come in the future, but maybe the future could be an outlook of maybe 10 years or plus. Who really knows? But we'll see as the future continues to unfold. Moving on to the next article. Elon Musk says X is bringing video to spaces soon. Elon Musk has announced that X, formerly Twitter, will be bringing video to spaces, the social network's live audio conversation feature. Musk said X plans to launch the feature by the end of the year, but certainly by the early next year. Musk went on to note that if there is more than one speaker on a spaces session, the video feed will switch to whichever person is currently speaking, similar to the way Google Meet or other video conferencing platforms display the current speaker. By bringing video to spaces, X likely hopes that it will be a way for users to further engage with their audience on the social network without having to go to a third-party platform. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And I've spoken about spaces previously in other videos of how it's like a great way for you to learn about different things that's happening in different parts of the world, whether it's here in the US or people having conversations about politics, money, finances, community in like Africa, or if you can understand it in like China or Hong Kong or things of that sort where they're speaking different languages, but so many different things going on in spaces. So I think this is going to be a very interesting feature to be implemented into spaces, because with the visual aspect of things, one thing we love is to see the actual person speaking instead of not only just listening to it. You kind of get the full I should say picture of a person. You can kind of see their emotions and, you know, when they speak about something, how they speak about it, their expressions. And I think these different things is what draws people more and more into wanting to hear from that person or hear from those people or hear from those groups. And if a person or people are having spaces all the time consistently, I think the video format of it is going to even enhance it more and create an even more close-knit community, but also bring new people into that community. So I think this is going to be a cool feature that's going to be implemented in the future. So if you're not on Spaces, definitely check them out to get yourself familiar with it and be aware of what's coming with it. Moving on to the next article. Google Classroom now lets teachers add interactive questions to YouTube videos. Google launched a new feature for Classroom that allows teachers to turn any YouTube video into an interactive assignment by inserting questions for their students to answer throughout the viewing experience. With interactive questions feature, teachers can create open-ended or multiple choice questions, provide feedback on answers, and access a dashboard of key insights to keep track of their students' progress. Meanwhile, students get to view which responses were incorrect and rewatch the video to learn from their mistakes. While interactive YouTube video assignments will be beneficial to students, it will also help educators identify concepts that need more instruction time, discover students who may need extra support, and also shape future lesson plans. So I think this is a great thing that's going to be very beneficial for students and teachers, but education overall, because when it comes to the generations that are continuing to grow up with more and more technology, it's going to be important to begin to implement a lot of that technology into the way that they learn, because if they're constantly on their phones or tablets or laptops, just learning, watching videos, or talking to one another, whether they're in Roblox playing or they're talking on different apps, it's going to be important to kind of implement those things into their education because they're already familiar with it, and that gives them the opportunity to kind of be immersed into something outside of a traditional book per se. Because with the visual, like I've spoken about in previous videos, there's something about visual that kind of just grasps your attention and you can kind of catch on and learn more from that. Definitely a visual aspect when it comes to video has a great impact. So I like that Google is doing this. And I think more companies are going to start to implement their technology into education, hopefully for the good, but we'll see as the future goes along. So, this was another informative day, but to continue to stay up to date on the things you should know happening in the world of technology, definitely check out these two videos right here, where I provide more information on the things you should know happening in the world of technology.